Hello and welcome to part 2 of my 3-part review series on the Mosin Nagant 91/30 rifle. This section will talk a little bit about the ammunition that is available for the Mosin Nagant 91/30. I'm not a true expert on that, but I'll do my best to inform you as best I can. And also the accessories that typically come with a Mosin Nagant and other accessories that you can possibly buy just to make your rifle a bit more complete and just make your collection look that much better. Very quickly, the first accessory that I want to cover will be the stripper clips, because there are a ton of videos out there on YouTube where individuals are experiencing difficulty loading the Mosin Nagant with their clips, and that can be attributed to one of 3 reasons. 1, the inexperience of the user. They don't know how to use the clips properly. 2, the manufacturer of the ammunition, and some of the rounds might not work well with strips just because of the dimensions or the particular material the case is made out of. Or 3, the quality of the clips themselves, and that seems to be the greatest issue, aside from experience or inexperience, for that matter. And I just want to say, first off, avoid the stainless steel reproduction clips. Repros, they're called. They're a copy of the earlier Mosin Nagant designs, but they just suck. Some of them will work fine. I think this is the one that will work okay. This one, not so much. And that just, it varies from clip to clip. But on the whole, they're just terrible. And you can tell that the repros of the earlier Mosin Nagant stripper clips, because they have 2 cuts here that create an additional flange, if you will, an additional holding surface. And they're slightly bent inwards. But I just find that it's just a pain in the butt to load the Mosin Nagant with one of these, even if you're using proper technique. The second thing I'm going to say is go for these clips, the originals. These are Polish, but I'm sure you can find Russian clips out there as well. And you can tell that they're good, at least I think you can tell they're good, by the fact that they have, instead of a flange, an additional, with those 2 cuts, you can tell that these have the edges of the ends of the clip here are rolled inwards. I don't know if you can see very well because my camera, again, has no focus. Both top and bottom are rolled in slightly, and that's meant to hold the cartridge in place. So I'm just going to quickly demonstrate loading with each one. Here are the repros. Ow. I got them in, but it took me quite some time. And here's a loading with an original Polish stripper clip. That was simple. Regarding surplus ammunition, the vast majority of surplus ammunition in my area comes in 2 different varieties: brass cased and steel cased copper washed. So I'll talk a little bit about each one in depth. These brass case cartridges that you see in front of you are Bulgarian lights ball, or at least I was told so by the owner of the store whom I bought it from. And it was actually really cheap. It was $5.99 for 20. And these rounds come packed in these paper packages, held in place by a thin rope or twine, whatever you want to call it. And each one of these packets holds 10. So as I mentioned, it was light ball. 7.62 by 54 millimeter rimmed cartridges tend to come in 2 varieties, at least the surplus ones do. Light ball and heavy ball. Heavy ball is obviously a heavier projectile, somewhere between 170 and 180 grains, thereabouts. I forget the exact number at this time. I'll post it below. But and that's meant for to give you better performance at longer ranges out of machine guns. Perhaps out of sniper rifles as well. I'm not too entirely sure on that subject. I do know the SVD designated marksman rifle is optimized for a 152 grain bullet. But this light ball stuff is 147, 148 grains. Because it's a metric system, 9.7 grams, I believe, they'll actually fall somewhere in between the 2. So, and light ball is what's meant to be put through a Mosin Nagant. I haven't heard of any real issues with putting heavy ball through a Mosin Nagant, although what I've been told is that in an M44 or an M38 carbine, heavy ball kicks very, very hard. And you might get some sticky bolt in there as well. I'm not positive. But yeah, this stuff is really cheap. light ball tends to fly at a muzzle velocity between 28 and 2900 feet per second. The most common figure that I read of is 2880. So just to give you an idea, it's a 147 grain projectile flying at nearly 2900 feet per second. So quite a potent cartridge on par, if you will, with 30-06 and 8mm Mauser. This steel-cased, copper-washed ammunition that you see in front of you, silver tip, not soft point, silver tip, it's just painted silver for identification purposes, I believe, is of Russian or Romanian manufacture. I think even Chinese 7.62 by 54mm rimmed is steel-cased, copper-washed. But it's hard. I personally cannot tell the differences between all these rounds. I'm sure within my my storage can over there, I have a mixture of Romanian and Russian, but I can't tell the difference entirely. This stuff is also light ball. It shoots very well. I think it's actually slightly more accurate than this Bulgarian stuff here, although I haven't really grouped either to see which one, outdoes the other. But they both shoot fairly well. These steel-cased copper-washed rounds, from where I've been getting them, come in these paper packets as well. They've been stapled rather than held together with rope, twine, but and they come to pack 20 to a package. And it's actually quite common, although it's a bit more expensive depending on where you are. It can be anywhere between $6 and $8. Right now, I think they're going for where I got these from. They were going for $7 or $7.50. So it's getting slightly more expensive as time goes on. I used to be able to get these for like $5, $5.50 a year ago. But that's about it. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention the silver tip. I think is a result of productions through certain years. I think they were silver tip up to somewhere in the early to mid 80s, 82, 83, 84, something like that. And then they stopped producing silver tip and they just went to just regular, copper all the way. They stopped painting it. But I think they're both full metal jacket designs. I'm not sure which one is better, but I've had both and they both shoot wonderfully. They both, feed and extract wonderfully. My Mosin Nagant doesn't have a real problem with sticky bolts, unless you fire off like 20 rounds, one right after the other. Then things start to get a bit sticky, but not really. Also, while the subject of ammunition is still relevant, oftentimes when you purchase a Mosin Nagant, it will come with a pouch, one ammo pouch, and each of these pouches is a 2-cell deal. Each one of these cells holds three loaded Mosin Nagant stripper clips or chargers, whatever you want to call them. And doing this one-handed, I'll try and demonstrate all 3 of them going in. It's a bit of a tight fit, but they work. So there you go. And I believe the soldier would have worn 2 of these on his belts, giving him a total of 60 rounds, yes. Because 15 in each of these cells, 30 total for one of these units, and 2 units for a total of 60. And also, a convenient way to store ammunition, as you see here, is in these old 30 caliber ammunition cans. So there you, and obviously these pouches would have been worn on the belts. The belt would have slid through these straps here. And I believe these particular pouches are of post-Second World War manufactured by the Russians. Okay, so our next subject will be the sling for the Mosin Nagant 91/30. And most times when you purchase this rifle, if it was straight from the crate, packed in cosmoline, most times they will come with a sling, a bayonet, and a toolkit, which I'll cover next in that specific order. But in respect to the sling, the Russians are a bit unique in that rather than using, for example, a buckle arrangement with a metal buckle where you slide the sling through, the Russians use a slot system where a slot has been bored through the entire stock of the rifle widthwise. And then the sling itself is heavy, thick canvas, very durable, and it's held in place via this leather belt. And it is virtually exactly the same as a belt. You stick the strip of leather through the slot of the rifle, and then you just buckle it in like a belt. And then, of course, there's a attachment at the front there. And the same thing occurs, with the leather belts. Early production M1891 rifles, the very early ones, had a buckle system where there was a buckle up front here at the front of the magazine well. Not magazine well, the magazine housing, whatever you want to call it. And but those were deleted and modified out of existence, and they are considered rare to the point of non-existence. If you see one for whatever reason, buy it. So that's virtually all there is about the sling. It's, as I mentioned, it's heavy canvas. It's very thick. It must be at least close to 2 inches in width, and obviously you can sling you can wrap your arm around it, you know, if you're trying to shoot in the offhand position, and it'll provide a little extra stability. Okay, so here we have the Mosin Nagant 91/30 bayonets. And if you're thinking right now, hey, that looks like a Civil War or a Revolutionary War era bayonets, I'd have to agree with you. It does highly resemble one in shape. Excuse me, if I got my terminology right, it's called a socket bayonet, because what you do is you slip it over the muzzle and then you twist. And you can see here that's where your front sight base is supposed to go as you twist, and it will lock into place. And to undo that, just push this button here that I'm pointing at, push it down, and just undo the entire process. Just reverse it and then pull off. It's called a cruciform spike bayonet because of all these flutes that have been milled into the spike, giving it a cross shape if you look at it from profile. I hope you can see that. And that's where it gets the name cruciform bayonets. Cruciform spike bayonets. It's very long, 17 inches approximately. You could probably stab through somebody in one side and out the other just because it's so narrow and so thin. And it acts as a tool in addition to a weapon. You can see here where the spike tapers that it ends with a screwdriver shaped head. You can tighten and loosen screws with this. In addition, I've heard stories where soldiers would stick this into the ground as a tent peg, or they would just jam it into a wooden table and stick a candle in here and, write letters home. Another thing I'd like to mention about the bayonets and the rifle is that under Soviet practice, they were meant to be paired more or less permanently. They did come out with scabbards late in the war. They were a canvas deal, and obviously not many survived to this day. But under Soviet practice, you were supposed to go into combat with the bayonet fixed, which meant that you had, in addition to a very long rifle, you have a very long bayonet with it too. So it makes for a rather unwieldy weapon. And this is just my rifle here, but the bayonet and the rifle were clearly not matched to each other originally. Number one, their serial numbers don't match, but number two, without actually taking a hammer and beating the bayonet on, there's no way you can get it far enough without taking a Dremel inside of it and making more clearance to get the front, push the bayonet on and get the front sight base in and to the left, and by twisting. You'd have to take a hammer and actually beat it on, but I don't want to do that because, like I said, it makes for a very unwieldy weapon. There we go. So there you go. The M91/30 bayonets. Eventually, what they did was they made the M44 carbine, which was a carbine with a bayonet permanently attached to the side of the rifle. And you can find a lot of those for sale still. They're going up in price though. Where at the ends they have the bayonet and it swings out when it's not in use to the side like this. And then when you want to use it, you push a button and then you swing it forward, and it snaps over the muzzle like an SKS. In fact, the SKS bayonet design comes from the M44. So there you have it, the M91/30 bayonets. Okay, before this video ends, I just want to cover original cleaning implements for the Mosin Nagant. And as I mentioned, they'll frequently come in these toolkit pouches that are made out of heavy canvas. And the first tool that you'll often pick out, as I mentioned, is a screwdriver/firing pin measurement tool. I've already covered that, so I won't bother talking about it too much again. And then the rest are all cleaning implements, as you see here. And I'll zoom in on those now, just so you can get a better view on how they go together. So the first thing you're going to need to do is to unscrew your cleaning rod and pull it out from underneath the barrel of your Mosin Nagant. And to do that, just twist to your left and pull out. It's threaded in there. There we go. Kind of reminiscent of the ramrod of the muzzle-loading musket/rifle era. So as you can see, it's rather long, but it's not meant to be a standalone device, if you will. You have to use these. Hold on, I just dropped one. You have to use these things here. And so the first thing to go on will be your jag, and that's this piece here. As you can see, it has grooves for a cleaning patch, and then it's able to turn separately of the base, so as it goes down the barrel it spins with the rifling. Your pouch might come with a jag, it might come with a brush, maybe both. Mine just came with a jag. And so to twist this on, twist, I'm holding it towards me, I'm twisting it towards me or to my left. So there you go, that's your jag. To form the handle of the cleaning rod, you can see this hole here, and you can see this cylindrical piece has a smaller diameter end and a larger diameter end. Put the large diameter end over the end of the cleaning rod, and you can see how there's a hole there. It'll match up with the hole here, and that's where you'll stick this piece here, this iron, this steel bar that's been kind of hammered or flattened out so that it doesn't go all the way through. So just form that, and then just stick this through the hole, and there you have your handle. Now, to clean, what you would do is you put a patch or something, or a rag, and pass it onto the. Actually, what you do is you pass. This is a muzzle cover to protect the end of the muzzle, the crown cover, if you will. So you thread this over. I mean, you don't thread it, but you put it over here. Then you you wrap your patch or rag, soak it in cleaning solution, and then you slide it down the ends here. And then this thing here is meant to keep you from banging into the crown and messing things up. And I did check prior to making this video. It is long enough to clean the barrel. Your chamber is a separate issue though, because it doesn't really reach into the chamber all that well. But and it's not exactly a high-tech setup, but it gets the job done, and that's what the Soviets were all about, practicality. So just pull that out, and then put on a new patch, and then repeat the process again. So there you have it.